I'm Yasharala. I'm giving him my infinite honors to my Heavenly Father and my great King, Yahweh Wah, Yahweh Shai. Giving double honors to our teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone, who our Heavenly Father has poured His Spirit upon on these last days to teach us this glorious gospel. Shalom and them brothers. And salutation to my fellow laborers in Yahweh Shai, pushing this doctrine of life across the four winds in this final hour, making that calling election assured by abounding in this labor of love, man. Shalom to you, brothers. And I'm going to just go through this blessed chapter, the book of Ezekiel, 17th chapter, because it goes into our history and it goes into prophecy. And it's very edifying. So I'm going to just go through it. And Lord willing, it's edifying to the hearers. All right? It's Ezekiel 17:1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, put forth a riddle and speak a parable into the house of Yasharala. All right? And that's how our Heavenly Father communed with His elect. He communed with us through metaphors, allegories, riddles, parables. All right, a lot of these scriptures are parabolic, and the reason He did that, He didn't want the gainsayers and the 2/3 and the heathen to understand our scriptures. Okay, so for the only people that can understand this song is the people that He poured His Spirit on, and those are the ones that can navigate and decipher these riddles and break them down, these parables. All right, so on and so forth. It's the people He's put His Spirit upon. Okay, and say, thus saith Yahweh Shema Shai, a great eagle with great wings, long winged, full of feathers, which had diverse colors, came to Lebanon and took the highest branch of the cedar. And this long-winged eagle is a miracle, all right? When it came to Lebanon and took that highest branch of cedar, it was talking about the nation Israel. And let me get an example, 2 examples, all right? This is the book of Obadiah. All right, we all know that Obadiah is dedicated to the fall of the nation of Edom. All right, and let me find the precept. Obadiah 1:4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and all of the Edomite powers always use the eagle as their symbol, as a symbol, because they feel they were high and lofty amongst all the other nations. All right, the Greeks used the eagle as a symbol of their nation, the Romans and America. Okay, the pride of thine heart had this Salakia. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence I will bring thee down, saith Yahweh Shema Shai. And when you can look at NASA, who was born through America, all right, they set all those satellites, so on and so forth, in the stars, all right? And America crowns itself as the eagle, all right? That's their national bird, the bald eagle, okay? And this is 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, the 23rd verse, and it reads, all right? And the Most High likens the nation of people to trees, all right? And I'm going to start up at verse 22. And my soul received the spirit of understanding. See what I'm saying? These parables, these riddles, and so on and so forth. The Most High have to give you that spirit for you to understand them. All right? And I began to walk with the Most High again. And said, O Yahweh bears rule over every wood of the earth, and all the trees thereof. Thou hast chosen thee only one vine. All right? When he's talking about trees and vines, he's not talking about literal trees. He's talking about the nation of Israel. That's why I say in Ezekiel the 17th chapter, the eagle got this tree. All right, that tree that he took, that cedar tree, is the nation of Israel. All right, the beloved brother Ezra said, of every wood of the earth, and out of all the trees thereof, he see trees thereof. Out of all of the nations of the earth, all right, like exchange that word trees with nations, thou hast chosen thee only one vine, all right? So all of the trees on the earth, that nation of people that he chose is the nation of Israel, all right? And that eagle carried the nation of Israel into a far-off land, all right? That's what we're reading about over here in Ezekiel. Okay? He cropped off the top, back to verse 4, he cropped off the top of his young twigs and carried it into a land of traffic. He set it in a city of merchants. Now let's see what this word traffic means. Okay? To be thorough, this word traffic don't mean what traffic means in this 21st century English diction. All right? That's why you have to go on these other language. All right? The word traffic goes into business, all right? And it's the Hebrew word...
Strong's H, 3667.
Canaan, all right? And when you go down to definition C, a masculine noun, it's talking about a merchant, a trader. All right, a trader, and that's what Esau is known for, being a businessman. All right, that's what he's known for. Okay, he loves money. All right, he loves money, and we're going to show what happened to our people when they came over here into these land of these merchants. So he cropped off the top of the twigs and carried them into a land of traffic, all right? A land of business, all right? And what did he do with the nation of Israel? He turned us into commodity, okay? We're the reason this place, America, is the most fruitful, luxurious place on the planet Earth where anybody could come and get so-called rich, okay? It started with us. We were the commodities that it was built off of. He said it in a city of merchants, okay? Now, let me show you what happened with these cities of merchants, all right? How they got started, all right? This is the stock market, how it got created. Most people think of the New York Stock Exchange when they think of Wall Street in Manhattan's financial district. On December 14, 1711, a law passed by the New York City Common Council made Wall Street the city's first official slave market for the sale and rental of enslaved Africans and Native Americans. So that's what that land of traffic and merchants that the nation of Israel came over here to be. We came over to be commodity. All right, the number one commodity in all of the earth. All right, this eagle brought the nation of Israel over here to spoil us and for a booty, so they could live off of us, lick our wounds, and nourish themselves off of us. All right, that's why it's called. It say that it took the tree into the land of traffic. All right, when we went into slavery, what happened? Esau benefit from our slavery because he got all of that free labor. All right, and we were the commodity. Okay, we were the number one import and export. Okay, and he said he said it in the city of merchants. You know what? I got another precept. Let me get this other precept. Just thought about it. This is Revelation, the 18th chapter. I'm gonna go down to verse 11, and it reads, "And the merchants of the earth, all right, shall weep and mourn over her." And it's talking about America. Let me go up to the top, get edification. "And these things I saw, another angel came down from heaven, having great power to earth, and was lighted within his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen. Is fallen, has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird." All right? And Babylon the great, who is it? It's America. Let me get another precept. This is Revelation 17:5. All right? I'm going to start at 4. "And the woman arrayed in the purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the great mother of harlots, an abomination of the earth." It's talking about America. Okay? That eagle with the diverse colored feathers is America in Ezekiel the 17th chapter. All right? So skip down to verse 11. And what is it? It's a land of merchants. And the merchant of the earth shall weep and mourn over her. When America is destroyed, all of the nations that deal business with her, business and commerce, are going to weep because they're not going to be able to make all their money anymore. For no man buy their merchandise anymore. Okay? Let me skip down to verse 19. All right? And this is what all of the merchants of the earth is going to say when she's destroyed. Okay? I'm going to skip down to 15, Salakia. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her, talking about America, shall stand far off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. All right? So that shows you America is this land of merchants. All right? And the Israelites are the merchandise. Okay? The so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right? And what we read earlier, all right? The stock market was created off the Negroes and Native Americans, okay? That's plain. Okay? Verse 5. He took also the seed of the land and planted it in a fruitful field. He placed it by great waters and set it as a willow tree. And we were bought here in America, and we were nourished for a time by the so-called white man, okay? We were nourished by him in want of all things. He fed us. He clothed us. Okay? Anything we got to live, it was given to us by this devil. And it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature. All right? When we came over here, it was more slaves in America than so-called white people, than Europeans. Okay? And it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature, whose branches turned toward him, and the roots thereof were under him. So it became a vine and brought forth branches and short sprigs. All right, let me get a quick precept. This Deuteronomy, and that's Leviticus, Salakia. Deuteronomy 28 and 43. And it reads, this that low stature, all right? The stranger that is within the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. See, we're in that low stature here in America. Deuteronomy is 20, the whole 28 chapter is talking about us getting put in cargo slave ships and being brought over here to the shores of America. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him, and he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Right? That's that low stature we're reading about over there over here in Ezekiel. Okay? Let's get back to it. I'm not positive, but I think you say Ezekiel in the Hebrew, Yakazaka Allah. Okay? Don't quote me on it. Alright? Verse 7. There was also another great eagle with great wings and many feathers. All right, this other great eagle is the same eagle, all right? You could call it Rome or Rome, you know what I'm saying? Because America and Rome is one of the same, but it's the same eagle. The reason it says another great eagle, because it's doing different things to us, all right? It's about to explain something different that this eagle was doing, okay? And behold, the vine did build her roots towards him and shot her branches towards him that he might water it by the furrows of her plantation. It was planted in a good soil by great waters, that it might bring forth branches, and that it might bear fruit, that it might be a goodly vine. Now, what is this devil feeding us for? What is this devil watering us for? Okay, let's see. And who is it talking about? This Deuteronomy. Let's go back to Deuteronomy. This 28 and 48. All right? Deuteronomy 28 and 40. Therefore shall thy enemies which the Yahweh sent against thee in hunger and in thirst. All right? That's what to say. What did this enemy do? Put us by great waters. All right? And hunger and in thirst, and he fed us and nourished us. All right? And in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Okay? So this nation fed us in want of all things. Okay? All right? Now let's see, why did this nation do this? All right? We're going to skip down to verse 50. And a nation of fierce countenance, America, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young, because they put the old man in the field of work until he died, just as well as they put the young children in the field until he was old enough to work, all right? Until it died. And this is the reason he nourished us. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, all right? He wanted our sustenance. He wanted us to work so he could get sustenance. And the fruit of thy land. You have to feed your slaves, right? How are you going to benefit if you don't feed your slaves and they die? And thou shalt be, until thou be destroyed. And he worked you until you worked and died, all right? Which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, because they took the increase and benefited for it, all right? Of flocks of thy sheep until he have destroyed thee, all right? So that's why they was nourishing us and feeding us, okay? This devil got a lot to pay for, all right? And it's going to be a great joy to pay him back, all right? That's the faith and the patience of the saints. All right? Verse 9. So say thou, thus saith Yahweh thy power, shall it prosper? Shall he not pull up the roots thereof, and cut off the fruit thereof, that it wither? It shall wither in all the leaves of her spring. All right? Even without great power of many people to pluck it up, the roots thereof. And the Most High said that when we were taken up, go back to Deuteronomy 28 chapter, that we would be cursed in everything we did, all right? Everything cursed in your basket, cursed going in and cursed going out. So you wasn't going to prosper. Let me go ahead and get it, all right? That's the Most High. When he's asking that question, he's being sarcastic, all right? This is Deuteronomy 28 and 15. And he's going to tell us what was going to happen when we were taking the severance. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and statutes which I have commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall thou be in the basket in thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out. Okay? So when you go back over here in Ezekiel 17 and 9, and the Heavenly Father asks this sarcastic question, he says, say thou, Salakia, say thou, thus saith Yahweh thy power, shall it prosper? He's being sarcastic. No. How can some curse prosper? Shall he not pull up the roots thereof and cut off the fruit thereof, that it wither? Yes, if it's cursed, that's what's going to happen. It shall wither in all the leaves of her spring, and without great power of many people to pluck it up by the roots thereof, all right? And the way this is how he plucked us up, by the roots thereof, all right? This is, once he did this is where we became totally destroyed. This is Jeremiah 17 and 9, all right? And it reads, Salakia 4, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for you have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. All right, now when we would discontinue from our heritage, this is when we died. All right, because when you go to Matthew, the 10th chapter, the 5th verse, all right, when you go in that word, when he say, go only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that word lost means destroyed. All right, and when you're lost, you don't know your nationality, you don't know your customs, you don't know your culture. All right, when you discontinue from your heritage and your power, you are destroyed. Okay. All right, back over here, Ezekiel 17 and 10. Yeah, behold, being planted, shall it prosper? Shall it utterly wither? When the east wind touches it, shall it not wither in the furrows where it grew? All right, and no. We haven't prospered. The whole time we've been in America, we have not prospered. We didn't prosper to start prospering to the 60s when our Heavenly Father raised up Elijah the prophet. All right? A.K.A. Albert Bivens. And he brought forth this doctrine of life. This is when we finally started prospering. Because you have a so-called rich niggas over there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. You had them niggas. That's not prospering. In the land of your enemy, you build up a community. That's not prospering. Prospering is when you're growing in the spirit. All right? And when you're serving Yahweh Shem Shai. All right? That's when you start to prosper, okay? All right, because you achieve material wealth in the land of your captivity, that's not prospering, all right? You're still a slave. You still have to abide by the laws of this great red dragon. You're truly free and liberated when you can keep your customs, your culture, and your laws rule the planet, okay? That's when you're free. That's when you're prospering. Salakia. All right, Salakia for that. Okay. Get back to the precept. Verse 11. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Say now to the rebellious house, know ye not what these things mean? Tell them, behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem, and he hath taken the king thereof, the princes thereof, and led him to Babylon. Okay? And this is talking about ancient Babylon, but when you're spiritual, this same thing happened to us, okay? When you look at it from the spiritual perspective, because you got to understand, a lot of these scriptures that we read about in Jeremiah and Isaiah, them going to captivity, all right, they are twofold scriptures, all right? It's also talking about us going into America, all right? That's how you learn how to decipher these scriptures when you have the Spirit on you. And he have taken the king's seed and made a covenant with him, and have taken an oath of him, and he have also taken the mighty of the land. And that's the same thing. We have Israelites that come over here and make covenants with Esau. Same thing, all right? That the kingdom might be base. And what happens when you get in league with the heathen? You become base, and we're the base nation on the whole planet. That it might not lift itself up. But by keeping of his covenant, it might stand. You see, and our Heavenly Father told us to come over here and serve Nebuchadnezzar, okay? That's a command from him. He told us to come over here and serve Nebuchadnezzar and do us and let Nebuchadnezzar and the nation of Babylon provoke us to jealousy that we don't never go off again, okay? But he rebelled against him, sending his ambassadors into Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people. You see, now this is what you got to understand. Our weapons of warfare are not carnal. When you raise up to fight Esau carnally, all right, you are going against that commandment he said about Cain. Cursed be him that smite Canaan, all right? Cain is going to be taken down, who is Esau, by our great king, all right? So you have to wait till the appointed time, like the book of Zechariah say, Zephaniah, one of them, it say, wait until he rise up to the prey. All right, so when you rise up, talking about you're going to bear weapons and fight this devil, you going against the spirit, just like the nation of Israel did in ancient time past, by getting in league with the Egyptians trying to fight the king of Babylon, when we were commanded to serve the king of Babylon, okay? But he rebelled against him, sending his ambassadors into Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people. Shall he prosper? Our Heavenly Father sarcastic, I'm telling you, bro. Shall he escape that do such things? Or shall he break the covenant and be delivered? Now let me show you. Let me show you why our Heavenly Father is being sarcastic. This is Jeremiah 27, Salakia, 27 and 11, all right? But the nations that bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith Yahweh, and they shall till it and dwell therein. Okay? That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be serving the king of Babylon, and our Heavenly Father will let you live. All right? I also spake to Zedekiah, king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him and his people and live. Okay? But when you try to fight this devil cornerly, like the Black Panthers, like the Nation of Islam, all right? What happens? You get slayed like Malcolm X and Huey Newton, all right? You get made examples of. And then when you come nonviolent like Martin Luther King, Psalms 127:1 say, if Yahweh Shem Awashai is not, if the laborers build the house and Yahweh Shem Awashai is not with them, the laborers build in vain, all right? So you got to do things according to the Spirit, all right? Verse 14, Therefore hearken not unto the words of the prophets that speak it. No, go back to the book of Ezekiel. All right. At 15, Ezekiel 17:15, but he rebelled against him and sending his ambassadors into Egypt, that they might give him horses and much people. Shall he prosper? Shall he escape the doer of such things, or shall he break the covenant and be delivered? All right, and when you go against the spirit of Yahweh Shem Awashai, you always get put down, just like Zedekiah, the king of Judah, did. All right, I think they gouged out his eyes, and the nation of Israel went into slavery. All right, and all those that followed King Zedekiah was put to death. All right, as I live, saith Yahweh thy power, surely in the place where the king dwelleth that made him king, whose oath he despised and whose covenant he brake, even with him in the midst of Babylon, he shall die. That's what happens when you go against the spirit. All right, and right now the spirit is telling you not to get that jab. All right, not to conform to the king of Babylon when he tells you to get that jab and that radio frequency identification chip, because you got to understand, we serve the king of Babylon until we can't serve him no more. At the end of those 70 years, the nation of Israel didn't have to serve the king of Babylon no more. So you have to wait till the appointed time. Now we're at the appointed time where we're able to rebel against him in this, where he's telling us to get this jab and this chip that's going to come after it. All right, verse 17. Neither shall Pharaoh with his mighty army and great company make for him in the war, by casting up mounts and building forts to cut off many persons. All right? If Yahweh Shema was with you, who can be against you? All right? Yahweh Shema was with Nebuchadnezzar. All right? He called him his servant. So it didn't matter who came up against him at that appointed time. All right? They were going to be taken down. Right now, if you come up against Esau and you're out of line with the spirit, Esau is going to utterly destroy you, because Yahweh Shem Awashai has given him the world, okay? He's given him a little season to rule, all right? So you have to obey Caesar for a season, okay? Seeing he despised the oath by breaking the covenant, when lo, he had given his hand and had done all these things, he shall not escape, all right? And that goes for us brothers here in this faith. All right, when you read Romans the 13th chapter, all right, he say the powers that be are ordained by Yahweh Shem Awashai. So you have to obey the laws of the land, man. Except when it comes to injecting yourself and putting these foreign entities in your body, you can rebel. All right, lawfully, according to the Spirit. All right, verse 19. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh thy power, as I live, surely my oath that he despised and my covenant that he broken, even I will recompense it on his head. Okay? And that goes for the nation of Israel. Things written aforetime was written for our learning. We are supposed to learn from chapters like this to follow Yahweh Shem Awashai's command. Okay? Even if we don't understand it. You follow his word. All right? And the Most High is going to make you understand His word. If you are the elect, if you one of His servants, He's going to open your understanding that you may understand the scriptures, okay? Verse 20, and I will spread my net upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, and will plead with him there for his trespasses that he trespassed against me. Let me get a precept for that. This is Zechariah 5 and 11. Start point probably in 10. All right. I'm going to start at 9. Then this is Zechariah 5 and 9. Then lifted up I my eyes, and looked, and behold, there came 2 women, and the wind was in their wings. All right, for they had wings like the wings of a stork, and they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. All right, and the ephah represents a measuring tool, and Israel's sins had been measured, weighed in the balance. Okay. And their sins came up to the Most High, and this is the Most High's judgment to send us into Babylon, all right? Then said I to the angel that talked with me, where does he bear the ephah? All right? And the nation of Israel was in that ephah. And he said unto me to build an house in the land of Shinar. Shinar is the chief city in Babylon, and it should be established and set there upon her own base. And in Babylon, what happened? This is where the house of David started getting rebuilt, man. This is where that third temple starting to get rebuilt, from Abba-Vivens to the Elder Mashai, to Elder Ariad, to the apostles of Great Millstone and their fruit. All right? This is where the house of David started to get built, in the land of our captivity. This is where we start remembering ourselves and building that spiritual house. Okay? Let's get back to it. Verse 20. I already read this, so I'm at I'm gonna start back at verse 20. I just had a brain freeze. All right. Ezekiel 17 and 20. And I will spread my net upon him, and he shall be taken in the snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, and will plead with him for his trespasses that he trespassed against me. And this is what's going on in Babylon right now. And all his fugitives with his band shall fall by the sword that remain, and they that remain shall be scattered toward all winds, and ye shall know that I Yahweh have spoken it. Thus saith Yahweh our power, I will also take of the highest branch of the highest cedar, and will set it. I will crop him off from the top of the young twigs as a tender one, and I will plant him on high in the mountain and eminent. That's talking about our great king. Where that precept at? Where that precept at? Talks about the branch. Might be 4. No, it's 3. It's 3. I'm positive. All right, here we go. All right. This is Zechariah 3. All right. Hear now, O Yahushua. That's how you say Joshua in the Hebrew. The high priest. Thou and thy fellow servants sit before thee. For thou art men wandered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch. And that's our great king, Yahushua. All right, that's our beloved great king, our great terrible king, Yahushua. He's that branch. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon the stone shall be 7 eyes. All right, now Heavenly Father, our great king is that chief cornerstones, who is in the midst of the 7 churches. Behold, I will engrave the engraving thereof, and Yahweh Shema of hosts, and I will remove the iniquity out of the land in one day. And how do our iniquity get purged? It gets purged through us getting His word, all right? Through Yahweh Shah, through His redemptive blood, and His blood and His flesh is this word, okay? In that day, the Lord of hosts shall you call every man his neighbor under the vine, under the fig tree, okay? So Yahweh Shema Yahweh Shah is that branch, okay? He's that branch. All right? That's prophecy. It's being fulfilled as we speak. Okay? Verse 23, in the mountain of the height of Israel will I plant it, and it shall bring forth boughs. All right? Now, those boughs is talking about men. All right? When you look it up, that's a masculine noun. Okay? And bear fruit, and be a goodly cedar. Okay? And under it shall dwell a fowl of every wing, and the shadow of the branches thereof shall they dwell. And the branches, that's feminine. All right? So a male and a female brings forth what? Fruit. Okay? And all the trees of the field shall know that I have Yahweh have bowed down the high tree. I'm talking about Esau. All right? And have exalted the low tree. All right? Well, was we not in the low stature, the nation of Israel? Paradigm shift. And have dried up the green tree and have made the dry tree to flourish. All right? So all the wealth, splendor, and majesty that this nation has is going to be dried up. And then in us, the elect, Lord willing, we're in that righteous number, we're going to flourish. I, Yahweh, have spoken and have done it. Okay? It's a beautiful chapter, man. And these are the times we're living in. When Yahweh Shema Shai is drying up that green tree, Esau, and his nation, and he's nurturing and making that dry tree flourish. The nation of Israel, the elect of them, of course. So with that, Yahweh Shema Shai willing to sit down was edifying to the heirs. So I'm going to give infinite honors to Yahweh Shema Shai, double honors to our teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to my fellow laborers in Yahweh Shai. Kwam Yasharala, Abab Abab.